Hi, this is Lou. Welcome to my channel. And I thought I'd do something a little bit different today and show you around my studio. So one of the reasons I took a bit of a break over the spring is because I didn't really have anywhere to film. We were doing some work on our flat here in Edinburgh, and things were being moved around from room to room, and I kind of lost a lot of working space and space to film. And now things are back together, things are a lot more calm and peaceful, and I've created a space in this room where I can paint and I can film. I can also do some printmaking, and yeah, I can do lots and lots of different kind of creative things. It's also the storage and packing area for all of the prints that I sell online. And yeah, so I thought I'd give you a little tour. So I have filmed videos from this room before, and if you've seen those, they're from quite a while ago, you'll have seen that I had lots and lots of shelves full of screen printing equipment and relief print making equipment. And I still have those things, I've just moved them to another place because I'm not using them quite as frequently as I was. So I've put them in different cupboards and around the place, and I've tried to create more of a calm space where I can sit and paint, because there was nowhere in here before where I could actually sit at a table. So that's one of the priorities, was to make a space where I could do that and where I could film in here. So kind of this is my kind of creative space, and I wasn't just kind of moving beds and other bits of furniture out of the way and other bits of the flat to make space for that. So when I moved my studio into this room, I didn't do anything to it, I just moved in, put furniture in and started working in it. And it had white painted walls, which was great, but they were looking a little tired, so decided to give it another coat of paint. And the paint that I've gone for is called Exposition Gris, and it's from Craig & Rose, and I absolutely love Craig & Rose paints. This has just gone on beautifully, the colours are beautiful, it's soft and creamy, and you don't need very much of it, it covers really well. So yeah, this isn't sponsored, but I do like that paint. So yeah, it's a beautiful kind of soft beigey colour. Maybe it's a bit of a dated colour now, but I wanted something neutral for this space, and I was a bit bored of the white, so I needed something a little bit different. So that's what I've gone for on the walls. And then the floor, it had a really tatty carpet before, but I took that up, and me and my husband laid some engineered oak hardwood flooring in here, and painted all the woodwork white, and then started moving things back in. So this area over here is just a little shelf, and I've been using it to display paintings and prints and things that I'm either kind of just finished working on, I'm halfway through, I can just pop them up here and see what they look like. Or these ones here I've only just finished, and these are 4 watercolour paintings that I've mounted onto wooden panels. The shelf itself is one of those IKEA picture ledgers. I've had it for a long time, but I just painted it to match the colour of the walls. So this is just gave it a sand and a coat of primer and then a coat of the watercolour. Over here I've got a bit of a pegboard, which at the minute is looking quite neat, but it'll probably change. So I've made some swatches of my favourite watercolours, nice big ones, just to give me some inspiration for different colour palettes, and I can change that out depending on what colours I'm working with. And then you may recognise some of these are some of my experiments in watercolour techniques that I've been doing. I've got a few little hanging pots, I've just got one out in a minute, and these are the things that I use all the time for packaging. So bits of tape, a bone folder, some scissors. And then I've got some little hanging hooks for hanging useful things. I've just got a couple of rulers up there at the minute. So I do have some storage and shelves in here. These are IKEA Besta units. I've had them for a long time, and I like that you get a kind of closed storage that you can hide things behind. So things that aren't looking so pretty can go in there. So I've got a guillotine and a scoring mat, and then just some paper towel and jars and things. And then in this section, some mediums and paint thinners, and some display things for prints when I take them to markets. And then these open shelves, I've got the things that I use all the time. So up here, in here, I've got a whole load of these folders with different pro markers in them. I used to use these all the time. I used to do lots of pro marker art, kind of before YouTube days, so a very long time ago. But they're still really good and I still get them out occasionally. Yeah, so I've got like half a dozen of these with all the colours in them. You can tell these are fairly old because they're the Letraset branding, and in recent years they've been Winsor & Newton branded. So these ones are the older ones. Another thing which is here, which is a kind of, I will use these again at some point. So these are all my kind of good quality acrylic paints. In here I have a basket of tape, a couple of plates that I've been using as watercolour palettes. So there. I'll reuse all these paints so I don't clean them off in between paintings. And behind there, just lots and lots of different brushes. I've got a couple of sets of vintage compasses here, which I'm keeping handy because I'm using them all the time. And then in this little caddy are things like, so this is some wax that I've been using on those paintings that I framed up, cutters for lino, gold leaf size, some glue, just lots of kind of useful things in there. Down here I've got pots of pens, pencils, scissors, more brushes. This is a brush for applying varnishes and mediums, protractor. I've got these marker pens here, which I don't tend to use for art. I tend to use them for planning, so I'll use them in my planner. And then this little caddy here has watercolour things in. So these I've just got to test, so they've just popped in there. So these are watercolour erasers. I haven't even tried these yet. But in there there's a spray bottle for water, there's little boxes of salt, lots of masking tape, masking fluid. Down here I've got a tray of acrylic inks. Different brands. Oh, that's not an acrylic ink, that's an Indian ink. But yes, different inks. I've got a pencil case full of Posca pens, and then boxes full of kind of spare watercolour charts, lots of little bit of paper that I've kind of tested different palettes on and don't want to get rid of. So this box has flyers in I take to events. So one side's got stuff on about my fine art, and then other things have got things about tutorials and videos. I've got business cards in there as well. So basically if I need to stick anything to a parcel, it goes in there. And then in here I have more watercolours and sets like this set of gouache. These are my Kuretake watercolour palette, and lovely metallic watercolours from MAB. Along here I've got all my sketchbooks. So these ones in here are all used, so they're all full of different things. The ones on the end are ones that I'm halfway through, so ones that I'm in the middle of using. And I've got a watercolour block on the end, but I've got more up here as well. So this whole box here is full of kind of blocks and pads of watercolour paper. And I have lots of them because I use them all the time. Yes, this, bring this over here. This is a little box I got from IKEA, and I've been using it for storing watercolour swatches. So every paint that I get, I make a little swatch of, and then that goes in here into little colour coordinated sections. and then I can rustle through here and find any colours that I fancy. That's a box for receipts, I won't show you that. And then in here I've got some watercolour painting that I finished. This tends to be for things that I've recently finished, maybe they're waiting to be scanned, or things that I've done quite a while ago. You might recognise a few in here. I've got some little drawers here full of paper. I don't even remember what's in here, so let's take it out and have a look. Oh yes, tube paints, yay! So pans, spare pans, and then a gold, and all the tubes of paint that I've bought. So most of these I've already squeezed out into little pallets, and this is what's left over, and I store them in here until I need to use them again. And if it's a colour I really like and use a lot, I've been buying bigger tubes of it so I can spread it around more. And then these I got recently. This is a set of core watercolour paints. This is the high chroma set. And I've been testing and swatching these. Haven't really done very much with them, but I find that's the way that I like to buy a new supply and play with it a bit, and then I'll work out what to do with it. But the things up here are the things that I'm using on a daily basis, really. So I've got my most used watercolour palettes. So the Starry Nights watercolour palette. This little tin, which has my kind of more neutral colours in it. This box of watercolour pencils, which you'll have seen if you watched the video I did the other week. I've got my big palette of watercolours out there, but when it's finished I'll put that up here. I've got my plant. It's getting a bit crispy on some of these leaves. Mostly it's quite healthy. A couple of decorative things. This is a little project I've been working on of just trying to fold and create geometric shapes from watercolour paper. So I might do something more interesting with those a little bit later on. I've got more fine liner pens than most people would know what to do with. Most of these are black, and then some of them are like different shades of grey, and they're all different sizes. I've got this bit of paper samples from GF Smith, which is just fun. This little bowl of masking tape and erasers and clips, which are just things that I need on hand that I can just grab. Some coloured pencils in here. I don't use those so much, but they look pretty, so I've got them out. And then this little bowl has spare batteries, and I keep some memory cards and things in there for where I'm filming. And talking about filming, this desk here is where I'm currently filming. I've just spent a while setting it up. So the desk itself is brand new. It was designed to fit in this space. So it allows the drawers of the plan chest, which I'll get to in a minute, to open, and gives me enough kind of depth to work on. But it's still quite compact in the room. And it's made out of the same stuff as the flooring, just glued onto some MDF. So yeah, so this is the oak flooring. Little kind of finishing piece around the edge. And then some legs from IKEA. Really simple. And just screw them on. But then around it, I really wanted to be able to film without taking up too much space. So I got one of these, which is a Manfrotto magic arm. And well, it's called a variable friction arm, something like that. And it can hold a camera perfectly steadily. And I've just got that clipped to this shelf up here, which the shelf is from IKEA as well. So I've got my camera on there. It can perfectly film what I'm doing down here. And then I had thought I'd just use this ring light to kind of save space. So I got this new, and what I found is that it actually doesn't light up the surface as evenly and cleanly as I'm used to. So in the end, I did decide to add in this big light with the softbox on as well, which does take up a lot of space in the room, but it's off to one side so it's not too intrusive, and it gives me lighting from both sides onto what I'm working on the table. And this has to be one of my favourite things. This is a plan chest. It's A0 size, which is enormous. It gives me so much storage. So I've got big reams of paper. So this is all watercolour paper. I can buy in big sheets. I can use whole sheets, or I can tear it down to smaller sizes. This is some recycled cartridge paper. This I have to play with yet. It's some wet strength tissue paper, so I'm saving that for a future project. And then in here I've got some things that I'm currently working on. And I've got all sorts of prints and paintings. These are what I'm selling in my online shop, and so this is my kind of inventory for all of those things. And then these are some of my larger prints and paintings, and this one is going to feature in a video coming up really soon. Underneath the plan chest I have a light box. So this is what I use for screen printing, for creating screens. And then I created a trolley to put this enormous heavy duty guillotine on. So I used to make like notebooks and things like that for sale in shops. I've actually stopped doing that because there wasn't enough profit in it basically, but I've still got the equipment and it's very useful for trimming, packaging and that kind of thing. It only really works for kind of big stacks of card or paper at once, so you can't cut like 1 or 2 sheets on it. But if you want to trim notebooks to size or big stacks of card, it's perfect. I had a big space on this wall here and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, so I've just put one of my paintings up there. I tend to have lots of framed paintings that have been in exhibitions or are going to exhibitions, but then storing them is an issue, so I found storing them on the wall is actually the best option. Lastly, in here I've got these cupboards behind me. Up here is all camping stuff. In this side is tools and DIY equipment, so I've only really got this side to work with. And in here I'm storing my screens for screen printing, tape for screen printing, yes, lots of screen printing supplies and enough to do workshops as well. And then this is packaging supplies. So I've got packaging for big size prints, medium size prints. The tubes are for when they're going abroad, just for whatever I might want to ship. I'm really liking creating in here. It's only been a couple of weeks, but it feels so much calmer and more peaceful. I'm still having some issues, like I had to put a rug down on the floor because when I was recording the sound for videos, it was all echoey. You might hear that a little bit on here. And yeah, this filming area I'm really quite enjoying. So I have got another tripod here as well, which I use to hold a second camera. So sometimes you'll watch my videos and there'll be, most of the shots will be from an overhead camera and they'll be straight down onto what I'm working on. And then some of them will be over the shoulder shots where you kind of see the work from an angle. And that's from a second camera, which I have on this stand here. So yeah, so that's my whole filming setup. And yeah, I think that's it for everything from the tour. So thanks very much for watching today. I really hope that you've enjoyed this. I know it's been a bit different. I feel very privileged to have like a whole room to myself where I can go and close the door and kind of just be creative. But I haven't always had that, and you know, working from the corner of a kitchen table or something for many years, or you know, just in front of the telly, it feels like a real privilege to have so much space to be creative, to work. And I'm really appreciative to everybody who watches these things, who can make, you know, helps to make that possible. So thank you very much today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm not sure what's going to happen next week because I am going to be away. If I get a chance to get a video up before I go, then that'll be up. If not, then there may be a little bit of a gap before the next one, but I might try and do 2 the week after if I miss a week, just to make it up. So I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Okay, thanks, bye-bye.